Hello, here we are.
Okay, we're good.
Sorry about that.
Oh no, you're fine. I'm Alex, by the way. I'll be the one who's interviewing you today.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem.
Where are you
So,
from?
I'm kind of like a gypsy, so I kind of travel a ways, but I came from Maryland, so pretty close to where you're from.
Cool. Awesome. Great to
Yeah.
hear.
So go ahead and get started here. How's it going today?
It's going great. I mean, just woke up a little bit ago, so I was having some coffee and yeah, just have a long day of interviews today, which is cool. And he just got back from tour. That was awesome. We did some like European fest and club shows. Then we played a single show in Dubai, and then we did Australia after that for four shows. And it's just been a phenomenal time. I mean, the reactions have been totally awesome, great vibe, and I feel like all of us in the band feel optimism for the future that people are just on fire, and just really want, you know, just the kind of stuff that we do.
I think it's also has a lot to do with COVID. I mean, we haven't had concert in like years, and now we're finally able to go back and rock out.
Yeah, it definitely rejuvenated people's interest in it, because yeah, I think before COVID, it was a little people were just too comfortable with shows happening all the time. It was not that big of a deal. Now seems like more people are coming out in general, so it's awesome.
So how was that going from Dubai to Australia? Did you have like a favorite venue, or how was it like traveling? That's kind of like a long distance to go for different venues.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I mean, this was our first time playing in Dubai, so it was something, special for us to do and be able to play for, people that don't get a lot of death metal in that part of the world and stuff. So that was definitely cool. I mean, the venue was like in a hotel, and it was pretty much like a some kind of strip club that they set up a venue in kind of thing, or used that kind of stage or whatever. But it ended up working out great. I mean, the response was awesome, and just it was nice to be able to connect with people in that part of the world, and just hear about their or hear and witness their love of metal and stuff. Put aside all the problems that they have over there, and then was Australia was just off the hook. I mean, all the shows, the fans were just super pumped, and there was, you know, just the venues were, good sized venues. They were packed, and it was just such a great vibe. Yeah, I mean, the traveling part of it sucked because I mean, had a long ride from Warsaw, Poland to Dubai, and then had, basically like a half day off, and then we flew to Singapore, and then went from Singapore to Australia. So it was a lot of flying, and then we had like 4 5 days in Australia, and then we flew all the way back to the US, which is like was about a 13-hour trip from Sydney to LAX, and then another, I don't know, five after that, going back home to Greensboro where I live now.
Yeah, that's quite the travel in a few days.
We actually traveled all the way around the world. Like, we went to Europe, and then just flew all the way around the world to Greensboro. So I could confirm that the world is round.
Well, that's good to hear. So talking about going on tour and everything, do you have any other tours set up?
We have some stuff in the works coming up, but nothing that I could announce just yet. But yeah, we're working on some US stuff, and then some European stuff for sometime, probably spring-ish or something like that next year. Just want to, get out there and really support the new album, as much as possible. I mean, so far the vibe's been great, so fingers crossed it keeps going that way.
I think it will. I think people are really excited.
Cool. Awesome.
So did you perform any new songs when you did your Dubai show or your Australia show?
Yeah, the whole thing, the whole tour from Europe until Australia. Well, the set was more of a 30th year type set where we wanted to, we wanted to celebrate that on our 30th anniversary, but that was right around the time of COVID and it didn't work out. So we ended up delaying our 30th anniversary tour. And we mostly played just I will say, an assorted amount of songs from our career, but we did throw in one new song, a Concordat song, the first one that was released in end of June. And what was really awesome about that is that was like one of the highlights of our set was playing the new song, which was really great for us to see because band a lot of bands that have been around for as long as us or longer, usually when they put out a new song, it's lackluster and it doesn't have the excitement and energy. But for us, for some reason, I'm really fortunate. We are really fortunate because people really take on to the new stuff that we do. And like I said, it was like highlight of the set, which was just nice because most of the time the highlight of the set or one of the highlights of the set is like, a classic, an old song that people might know or grew up with, but people were really pumped for new stuff. So that's a great it's a great indication that, we still have some mojo after all this time.
That's awesome. It's really cool to see that people are really still into it and really are excited for new music.
Yeah, I mean, especially, the fact that I've been doing it for so long. And when we started, we never thought that there was going to really be longevity in this kind of music. It wasn't even really a thought. It was just like, okay, we're doing our thing and it's probably going to die out at a certain point. And it did die out, but it kind of came back, stronger than ever, quite a while ago now. And it's awesome that, you know, we were able to do some great stuff early on in our career and I think throughout, but just to be at this point in our career and still have put out meaningful stuff in the scene and just still be relevant is it's for me it's like a dream come true because it's something that I've always wanted to do since I was a kid is just to play music and stuff and to still be doing it and to still have people excited about it is cool as fuck.
That is pretty awesome. I have to ask though, what's the secret to making music and still being excited after all these years?
Um, I think the most important thing is just to be honest to yourself, what you want to do. And, I still have the interest and the passion in the style of music and the will to want to do it. Like it's become personally for myself, it's become a form of expression. But, and also the important thing too is that the whole band contributes to the music aspect of it. So people, and even though I've created the band and had the band forever, I don't like to hold back members in the band. Um, I want to have their input and I want to have their flavor in the music because for me, the best music comes out when the people that are playing it are, giving a piece of themselves to the music and not just doing like a cover or rendition of the song. They want everybody to be a part of the song, to us be one unit that is, a band doing it. So I think that really helps because the people that are playing are really care about the music and they really care about um, you know, being honest and really going for it and stuff. That definitely helps. And the fact that I'm open minded to other people's ideas in the band, and I don't rule a band as like some kind of dictator or anything like that. I want everyone's input. I want everybody to be, happy. And I want, like when we do an album, like this one, I want it to be an expression of everybody in the band and not just myself. I know there's lots of bands out there where, it's kind of like quote unquote legacy type bands, and they they just get so caught up in their own head that they think that they're like so important and everybody else in the band isn't important, and it just gives for a bad vibe. You know, there has to be, if you're going to do a band, it has to be a group effort, not if you're going to do a solo project, that's one thing. But if it's going to be a band, it needs to be, everyone needs to be invested in it, playing wise or influence wise or something, and I think that really helps, because we realized that, say the band, when we first started the band, there was is different people in the band. So of course it's going to be different a little bit than what it's going to be now. We can't, if we try to just mimic what it was before, that's being like false to the guys in the band. It's like we have to do it the way we do it now and have it be honest, just as honest as it was back in whatever time in the band, but it's honest because the people that are doing it are really, they're not, like I said, they're not just copying what, say, the former members did. They're expressing themselves through that. I don't know, it's almost like a conduit or something. I don't know how to explain it properly.
Oh no, you're fine. I really love the aspect that it's a truly a team effort to get the album together.
Yes, and I think people, you know, I think naturally think that it's like I'm 100% the writer and brainchild of everything, but it's really not that. I mean, there's standards that I, push for, and there's, special, there's a focus that I have, like, kind of guiding the ship, we'll say, but everybody's input is like super important in there. It's like it's not going to just run by me kind of trying to captain the ship or whatever. And I need the other people to really um accomplish anything, and just to make it fun, because it's not fun to play out live and not feel like the other guys in the band are really like enjoying their time on stage playing. You want to, it's like there's a magical feeling when you see you're all four of us are on stage and we're all just like into it, like, yes, this is, we're doing this as a team. It's a great feeling.
Yeah, that sounds awesome.
It
So I,
is.
so I do have to ask, when you are performing, like when you performed your new song, where does your mind go before you perform it? And while you're performing it, like, are you afraid of like what the fans are gonna think? Are you excited?
Well, I mean, I will say personally, I feel confident about the music. So I, you know, the confidence there, but there's also a concern because, yeah, you don't know if people are going to take on to it or not. I mean, even a couple times when I announced the song, I just said, something to the fact like this is a, new song, and, hopefully you like it or whatever, or just like, if, it's, here it is, um, if you don't like it, that's a bummer, just something like that, I would say, because it's kind of like of course you get nervous playing new stuff. I mean, anytime we record something and we're burned out on it by the end of the recording session. So sometimes we don't even know which way is up anymore with it. And see, you hope that you didn't get too like overindulgent with it, where you know, miss something because you were too caught up in the whole making of the song. It's because it's a weird thing, but it's almost like you could overthink the song out so much that you get inside your own head. It's like people could relate it to maybe sports or something, where you like psych yourself out and stuff. So when we do a song live, especially for the first time, you're just like, fingers crossed, hopefully this is gonna work, and it was great because you know, we really knew by our second show of the European part of the tour, when we playing the new song, that it was just like, oh yeah, this is a good, this is good. People are digging this, like you could tell that some of the people in the crowd listened to the song already online and knew what was coming up, and other people were hearing it for the first time, but just really digging it, which was a great feeling. But yeah, there's always the nervousness playing anything new because you just never know. I mean, you hope that you write good stuff and that people want to hear it and that you pick the right song to play live and whatever. But sometimes, you know, we'll have a song that we were like super pumped on and we'll play it live. And sometimes the crowd's like, yay, like hard. And we're just like, okay, well, next, but it's been pretty fortunate as of recently where, people really dig into new stuff. Like I said, in the live situation, it was almost like we played it like five songs into the set. And sometimes for our sets, like it's either like the crowd's going crazy from the beginning or it takes them a little bit of time to kind of warm up to it. But usually by the time we would play that song, people were like pumped up and ready to just go totally sick. So it was definitely awesome.
Yeah, that sounds like a really good show. I'm kind of sad I missed it.
Yeah. We've been very fortunate in the since the pandemic, we've had so many great shows. It's it's been mind blowing, It's a dream come true, really.
Yeah, it definitely sounds like it. So how long did it take you to write and record the new album?
Um, well, I started writing before we finished the mixing for Spectable Divinities. So it was started writing in 2000, I guess. And it was like the end, like I think in November 2000, it was, the thing is each album is a reaction to the last album, it kind of answers the last album. And when I finished the final tracking for Spectable Divinities, I was super inspired to write because I felt like that album was missing a little bit of the faster, barbaric, raw edge to the music. So I just immediately started writing some of the more aggressive stuff that is on this album. And basically, from November until about I don't know, probably June or something of 2021, I was in kind of writing mode for it. It was all before Sect came out in what, 2020. Okay, so this was all, I'm sorry, this was 2019. We started writing for it in November and we finished it in, well, I wrote, most of the stuff was written between 2019 and 2020 and like June or something. But then we finished up the album throughout the next, I guess, is next 2.5 years. It went weird because the pandemic kind of gave us time, but also slowed things down to some extent. And also, once we got mostly finished with the recording of the album, and by 2022, we ended up touring a lot, and
Mhm.
we didn't get a chance to finally mix it until the beginning of 2023 is when we really got like the proper mix and we were able to get everything rolling with it. So it took a while, I guess, but so it took from 2019, 2023. That's a long time, but the pandemic screws up everything. So,
Yeah,
but we
it
also have a lot of new material written on top of that. Also, we wrote an abundance of material over the pandemic, and we use some, this stuff we use for this album, but then we have a bunch of other tracks that we're working on finishing up that we are going to use for something in the future.
well, that's exciting. So there'll be a new album not too long from now, maybe.
I hope so. I mean, we'll have to see how it goes, but yeah, we definitely hope to keep the ball rolling. I mean, the inspiration's definitely there, so it's awesome.
Do you have a favorite song on this album?
No, not really. No, I don't. It's too much. There's too much diversity in the songs, but I don't think there's any one song that is really like stands out as my favorite. I mean, um, Conquer that song just from playing it live. I was really kind of pumped up about it. But I mean, really, all the songs I feel really strongly about and stuff. So yeah, I don't really have like a favorite necessarily.
Is there like any sort of theme that you went with this album that fans will be able to see when they listen to it?
Oh, you mean like concept and stuff like that? You mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, Chuck came up with a really interesting concept, about basically it's the creation of a new god from all the, parts and like all the old gods basically getting like, like kind of getting rid of all the old gods and creating a new god kind of thing. And it's basically a 10 chapter story on basically from the beginning of it. I think Concordat's the first one, and that's the one where kind of the person activates you know, to get the wheels in motion for the god to be created by basically self-mutilation, and he ends up um, trying to bleed into the great symbol of summoning, which is a symbol that we use for some of our stuff, which we use as the symbol that is creating the god. It's actually in the video. It shows like the old guy cutting himself and bleeding into the symbol, and that's kind of the beginning of the whole story of how each call it each song is like a chapter in the final creation of this creature, which ends up, basically being like an abomination on Earth. It kind of gives the Earth a new renewal, but not necessarily in a positive way.
So it's almost like a story, like each thing is a chapter to the final.
Yeah, yeah, that's why the lyrics have there's there's the order of the album, and then there's the order of the story. That's why we have the Roman numerals on the end of it. So if people are diehard into the lyric concept and really want to dig deep, they could either read the lyrics in the proper order that they were, in chapters, or they could reorganize the album in the way of the chapters and listen to it that way, or they could just not care about the lyrics at all and just listen to the album in a normal way. So that we have. So it's kind of we made it so it's mix and match, because it wouldn't be kind of weird. We didn't do the album in order of the chapters. So if we didn't put the chapter numbers after it, the story would make no sense if they were trying to read it. So we figured it would be better to put the Roman numerals there to kind of give people a guide.
Wow, that's really awesome.
Yeah, I just thought it was a kind of a cool way to do things. I mean, we're not a big enough band where we have the time and resources to build a album from start to finish in the proper way, to do the story from chapter 1 to chapter 10, and you know do the music in the right way. Like, it just didn't work out, because what I guess the best way to describe it was we wrote the songs first, and then we knew about the concept. But once we wrote the songs, we didn't originally write the songs to go with the concept. So there were no connections between the songs, as far as like, okay, this is going to be the first chapter song, this will be a second chapter song. So we basically just tossed the lyrics into whatever songs worked that we already had. That's why it's kind of out of order on the album as when you listen to it originally. But musically, the flow for me is better with the numbers that we have. The order of the album is better than, but if you listen to it with the Roman numeral numbers, the album sounds totally different. So it's actually kind of interesting, because just the order, just replacing the two orders of the album, you kind of get a different album experience from the same songs, which is actually a cool thing that we didn't even really think about until after we did it. And we're like, huh, that's kind of cool. It works both ways.
Yeah, well, I do want to thank you for your time and thank you for taking the time for doing this interview.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it. And definitely let me know when this is posted or however you're going to do it. Okay.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you so much and enjoy the rest of your day. Can't wait for the album to come out.